Hi, this is Eric Bjornstead coming to you again with the Bell Performance video blog. And today we're going to talk about this concept of, is all gas the same? Now, the initial answer to that question will be, of course, all gas is not the same. So let's kind of explain a little bit of what we mean when we ask this question. When you go to the gas station, whether you live in Boise, Idaho, or Detroit, or Orlando, Florida, you go to the gas station. Let's say you go to a Chevron and you want 87 octane gas. Now, it's reasonable for you to expect that the 87 octane that you're getting in Boise is going to be pretty much the same as the 87 octane that you're getting here in Florida or up there in Michigan. But what you find in practice is that's not necessarily the case. Now, let's unpack this a little bit more. We expect that all gasoline that we buy, whether, let's say it's the same grade to simplify things, we expect that there's going to be uniformity of quality when we buy gasoline, no matter where we go. Now, as consumers, intuitively, we understand that there are some differences. For example, Chevron has this Techron additive package that they put in their gas. And I think we as consumers realize that the 87 octane that you buy in Chevron is not going to be exactly the same as if you go to a racetrack or you go to a Flying J truck stop or a Texaco station. It's not going to be exactly the same because there are additives that are proprietary to Chevron that make their gasoline a little bit different. I think we know that. But at the same time, on a more general level, our expectations as consumers are that when we go, no matter where we go, gasoline will essentially look and perform in our vehicles essentially the same. Now, one reason why this is, I think, is what I called on the blog. I called it the franchisation of America. Now, what we mean by that is business franchises. When you think of a franchise, you think of, let's say, fast food franchises. They are a great example of this. McDonald's, Subway, Burger King. McDonald's was the first really big successful franchise, became really big in the 50s and 60s. They may have regressed a little bit today, but they're still, pretty much a dominant force in the marketplace. And one of the reasons they became successful was they bought into this idea of a franchise. Now, from a business perspective, a franchise is where you're able to replicate the processes. You replicate the processes, or you replicate the results in for a product. When you buy a Big Mac or a Quarter Pounder at McDonald's, you expect as consumers to get the same quality Big Mac in Orlando that you're getting in Michigan. And that's because the McDonald's franchise has standardized their processes with the goal of producing and replicating the same high quality, or at least hopefully high quality, same high quality product every time at every location. Now in the year 2012, you've gotten a number of franchises, and they've all bought into this type of model. And so as consumers, we've become used to this idea that we can go anywhere we want, and if we're buying a brand name, if we're going to a McDonald's, or if we're going to a Subway, or ordering a Domino's pizza or whatever, we expect that we get the same quality every time. And this expectation carries over into other areas of our buying habits, and that includes gasoline. So, you go to the gas station, you expect to get the same kind of gasoline, but unfortunately that's not always the case. Now, the one caveat to this is that there are federal requirements that say that gasoline does have to meet certain properties. It does have to have the right ignition point. It has to not contain certain things. There are what they call specifications, or what they call ASTM specifications, that do ensure some kind of uniformity. But where this problem, this divergence comes out in practice is when people talk about, let's say, what kind of gas mileage they're getting. They say, I filled up with 87 octane, and I drove, and I went on the highway, and I got 350 miles, and then I went and I filled up at the same station, or I filled up at a different station and I got 330 miles, and it seems to me everything else was the same. So, what's the problem? The problem is that even buying gasoline at the exact same gas station, you still can get a variance in properties of it. And specifically what we mean is, for gasoline, it's the percentage of ethanol that's contained in that gasoline. The ignition point and the octane are supposed to be the same, but you see those stickers on the gas pump that say, contains up to 10% ethanol. When groups like AAA did, ethanol testing, what they found is that the actual amount of ethanol present in the gasoline varied, could have varied quite substantially. And, if you're talking about filling up with a gasoline that has 18% ethanol versus another gasoline that has 8%, and you have no idea that there's any difference, of course you're going to be shocked when your gas mileage goes down. You're probably going to wonder what's wrong with your car. You're going to wonder, if you put a fuel additive in and that unluckily happened to coincide with that, you're going to think, oh, well, that fuel additive doesn't work. Well, actually, it may have more to do with the fact that you've got more ethanol in your gas and nobody told you about it. So the franchisation of America, in some ways it's a good thing, but it's better if we as consumers are able to keep our eyes open and have a knowledgeable expectation of what's actually true out there in the marketplace. So thanks for joining me today for this Bell Performance video blog about, is all gasoline the same? And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.